34.
30.
So why study Bhagavad Gita? Why? You have an answer?
Me?
Yeah, you were starting to speak.
Why study? For me, I feel like to feel connected with God, Krishna.
It's a good answer because Bhagavad Gita is not different from Krishna. So when Bhagavad Gita is being discussed, then it's activity, yes, Krishna is there, you could say. Otherwise, just talking about some ordinary subject is not the same. It creates a spiritual atmosphere. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, to know about our connection with the God, I mean, like, where exactly we are part of the God in terms of, like, we are soul and then we are part of the Supreme Lord. And somehow, I personally, I was missing this connection. I want to understand who am I, what is my purpose. So perhaps, after reading all through the Gita, I can get all those answers.
By reading Bhagavad Gita, you can understand how to connect with God. What do you say? Why study Bhagavad Gita? Why?
To understand deeply Krishna.
To understand Krishna. That's also true. What would you say?
The meaning of Krishna.
The meaning of Krishna. What would you say? We were asking a question. Why study Bhagavad Gita?
So that we know what Krishna desires of us by hearing his words to Arjuna.
Yes. What would you say?
I started listening to Bhagavad Gita for a couple of years, but based on what I heard and based on my little understanding, I can say, like, by studying Bhagavad Gita, we should be able to identify ourselves to some extent in such a way that we can perform our activities without giving much focus to the what you call those fruitful results and all, the consequences. And by knowing or understanding Bhagavad Gita, it will also keep us focused on reaching or understanding Krishna better than, instead of always tending to focus on the materialistic gains or benefits.
Father always used to say, when you read Bhagavad Gita, to learn how to live life for instruction, to get instruction from Lord Krishna.
For me, I would say, what's the use of studying Bhagavad Gita? If you study Bhagavad Gita, you can find out who you are and what is life's purpose and how to attain it. What is the actual purpose of life? Who am I really and what is life's purpose? So in the 4th chapter, Krishna first talked about himself a little bit and explained how Bhagavad Gita descended in parampara. That was broken, now he's speaking to Arjuna. And he explained that he comes periodically to reestablish the principles of religion, and one who understands the transcendental nature of his appearance and activities does not again take birth in this material world. And he explained that he's the creator of the 4 Varnas. 4 Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Because Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and Krishna was telling Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, it is your duty to fight. So Krishna establishes that this is not an artificial division. I have created this. Then he explained that although he is the creator of Varnashram system, still he is the non-doer. And that those who understand how that is so, they act in the same way and thus avoid the reactions of work. So then Krishna says these three things should be understood. What is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma. And he paradoxically says that one who sees action in inaction and sees inaction in action is actually wise amongst men. And he explains how that one can perform activities but not get a reaction. These activities have to be performed without personal attachment. They must be done as a sacrifice. Then Krishna described many different conceptions or many different types of sacrifices and performance of sacrifice. Some people sacrifice their breathing by practicing pranayama. Some people sacrifice their possessions by giving in charity. Some people sacrifice by study. Some people perform fire sacrifices. Some people try to sacrifice themselves by merging into the Brahman. So the last verse we read was that the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So from this we understand that the ultimate purpose of all the different varieties of sacrifice is to come to the platform of actual knowledge. So after reading all this, one may wonder, well, what is that knowledge that one is supposed to come to by the performance of all these sacrifices? So in text 34, Krishna says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So, this is a very important point which Srila Prabhupada emphasized, that no one can understand God or Krishna by the strength of their own cultivation of knowledge or their own intellect. That is not possible. No one can approach God on their own strength or understand Him. So the only possibility for learning anything about God is to approach someone who is, as described in this verse, who is Tattva Darshi, which means one who has seen the truth. The bona fide spiritual master can impart knowledge to you because he has seen the truth. Therefore, he can explain to you the truth. Of course, BhagavadGita, Krishna is the original spiritual master, and he is speaking. But even to understand BhagavadGita without the help of a spiritual master would not be possible, even though Krishna is speaking very clearly. So this is, Prabhupada explains, this is common understanding for all fields of knowledge. If you want to learn any subject, you have to approach the professor of that subject. If you want to learn something, he also says mere book knowledge is not sufficient. You must have someone who is able to explain the subject to you. So to understand about all these different sacrifices, what the ultimate purpose is, what is that platform of genuine knowledge, which one is supposed to come to, then one has to approach a guru. Then how to approach the guru, there's 3 words mentioned here. Pranipad. Pranipad means submission. One must approach the guru with submission, not in a challenging mood, but one must be submissive, taking the lower position. Then pariprashna. One must be actually inquisitive to understand the truth. No one should accept a guru just out of formality or just because everyone else is, or just to be able to say, I have a guru. One must be actually inquisitive to understand the truth. Without being actually inquisitive, there's no need to approach guru. And sevaya means by service. After approaching the spiritual master, one must be willing to render service. If these 3 qualifications are fulfilled, then the spiritual master is pleased to impart transcendental knowledge to the disciple. So what is that knowledge that is received from the spiritual master? That is described in the next verse. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you'll never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. So sometimes Krishna, as the teacher, speaks of the Supreme as if it is something other than himself. And sometimes he directly says, unto me. So here he's saying, when you've learned the truth, what will you actually have learned? You will actually be able to see that all living beings are situated in the Supreme, or in other words, are in me. Or as Krishna explains elsewhere, you will be able to see that all living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. Elsewhere it is said that after many, many births, if one actually comes to the point of complete knowledge, and he knows that Krishna is everything. There's not a separate existence. It's not that there is Krishna and there's something else. Everything is Krishna and Krishna's energies. There's not any different thing. One who understands that surrenders unto him and engages in devotional service. So it is this understanding that situates one apart from material existence. Maya, or ignorance, means fundamentally to see or to think that there's some existence apart from Krishna, or forgetfulness of Krishna. Pure devotees or self-realized souls, they never see anything as other than Krishna. They never forget Krishna. So when one comes to that platform of understanding, then he can never fall back into the ignorant material conception of life. As an example, in the beginning, Krishna explained that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all of these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So Prabhupada has explained that this must be understood. You're not the body. The body depends upon you. You don't depend upon the body. When you are out of the body just deteriorates, decomposes. So actually there's nothing but you. The body is actually nothing. It's just an expansion of your energy, so to speak. So in the same way, this whole world is nothing but a expansion of Krishna's energy. It has no separate, nothing has any separate existence. So 36, even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Many times this world is called, compared to an ocean, because ocean is very vast. On one's own power, no one can cross over the ocean. So this is often referred to as Bhavasagara, or the ocean of birth and death. But here it is said that even if one is the lowest person, if somehow or other he becomes situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, then he can cross over the ocean of material existence. So taking shelter of this knowledge, we're taking shelter of Krishna and Krishna consciousness is like getting on a boat to cross over the ocean of material existence. If one stays on the boat, one is safe. But if one leaves the boat and again dives into the ocean, then his position is precarious. That's why devotees always like to stay close, always in Krishna consciousness. One who is in Krishna consciousness feels fearless or protected by Krishna. So Krishna consciousness doesn't depend upon any other process. One can immediately take to Krishna consciousness from any position. There's no material qualification. You must have an education, or you must be born in a certain community, you must be a Brahmin, or anything like that. Anyone can take to Krishna consciousness, even the lowest person, and by situating himself in Krishna consciousness, and attain the supreme perfection. 37. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So the situation of being in transcendental knowledge was first compared to a boat. Now that knowledge is compared to a fire. Just as a fire, whatever you pour into it, however much ghee or how much wood you put into it, it will burn it all to ashes. So similarly, when one is in this perfect knowledge, the reactions to all of his actions are burnt to ashes. In other words, he doesn't receive reactions, karmic reactions for his activities. This is the meaning of akarma. So real position of akarma means to act on the platform of understanding that everything is part of Krishna. All living beings are part and parcel of Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy, and therefore everything should be utilized in Krishna's service. 38. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. So in this world, there's nothing so sublime and nothing so pure as this knowledge. Everyone is searching for knowledge, that is natural. Once Srila Prabhupada was speaking to a boy who asked, what is the nature of the soul? So Prabhupada explained the nature of the soul is Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge, and blissfulness or happiness. So Prabhupada said that why is it that no one wants to die? You want to die? No. Not yet. Tomorrow you will want to die. No one wants to die because our actual constitution, our actual nature is that we are eternal. We are eternal, but body is changing, so we don't like that. So nobody wants to die. And Prabhupada said, why are we reading these books? For knowledge, that is our nature. We are eternal, we want knowledge. And why have I placed this, he said, why have I placed this flower vase here? Because it looks nice for happiness. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants knowledge. Everyone wants to live forever. That is our nature. So that is also why we read Bhagavad Gita, to understand things as they are. Isn't the world a confusing place? Isn't life confusing? When you were growing up, didn't you feel confused? I did. So everyone, to some degree or other, is searching for someone to tell what's really the situation. Go to school and they teach you so many things, but you don't actually learn why is everything. But in Bhagavad Gita, we get some factual understanding. Beginning with, who am I? So here, there's nothing so sublime as this transcendental knowledge, and nothing so pure. It is the purest. It's a fact that the soul is called pure because now we are in a contaminated state. The contamination is the three gunas, or you can say this body is also a contamination. Just like this body is a fact, it is called Navadvare Pure. Navadvare Pure. It is the city of 9 gates. There's 9 holes in the body. Of course, there's 9 major holes. So from every hole in the body comes an obnoxious smell. It's a fact. Body is a contamination. But this Bhagavad Gita is pure. So one can feel that. Just like sometimes, oh, I feel dirty, I want to take a bath. And you feel pure. Everyone has a sense of dirty and clean, or contaminated and pure. So there's external cleanliness, there's also internal cleanliness. Sometimes internally we also feel very nasty. Sometimes we feel purified. When we read Bhagavad Gita, we feel pure. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. It is the mature fruit of all mysticism. 59. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge. And having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So, in this verse it says, a faithful man, one must have faith and one must be faithful, one must be dedicated. A faithful man who is dedicated and who subdues his senses. Elsewhere it is explained, yoga indriya samyama. Yoga means to control these senses. That one who is dedicated to the attainment of transcendental knowledge, a faithful man, and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such transcendental knowledge and attain the supreme spiritual peace. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Text 40. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness, they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. On the purport, Prabhupada says, out of many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. Persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures. And some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. Prabhupada says there are many who write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, but they have no faith in Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is just leading to Krishna, but these persons, in their commentaries, they try to take people away from Krishna. 41. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work or conqueror of riches. 42. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, Arjuna, stand and fight. So that is the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. And it's interesting to note that so much talk, philosophical talk and explanation of sacrifice and knowledge, but what is the conclusion of it all? Krishna is telling Arjuna, therefore fight. Therefore act on the conclusion of all of this knowledge. The conclusion is that we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme, or in other words, of Krishna. Therefore, it is our duty to act under his direction, or to act for his satisfaction. Therefore, armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Put the knowledge into practice by engaging in the service which I have given to you to fight. So, are there any questions?
Prabhu, you started this today with the message saying about sacrifice, and you said that through pranayama you sacrifice your breathing for the God. What does that mean?
Well, no, it means that those who practice pranayama perfectly, they can actually stop their breathing altogether. That means they are sacrificing their breathing. Doesn't mean that they're directly sacrificing their breathing to God, but it is for them some kind of sacrifice for attaining the Supreme. Just like it is said, if you study to acquire knowledge, that is also a sacrifice. Sacrifice means to give up. So, to apply oneself to study, that is a kind of sacrifice. And in the very, very end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I declare that anyone who studies this Bhagavad Gita seriously, they are performing jnana yajna, sacrifice of knowledge. So in other words, sacrifice means I'm giving up my propensity, I'll watch TV, I'll go out and this, that, and I'll put my attention on studying Bhagavad Gita. So that is a jnana yajna. So pranayama, okay, I'll turn off the TV and whatever. Yeah.
This statement that this is a the perception that this is a fight is so real, so genuine. This is not something that happens. The darshan is sweet, very nice, and the service is a great mercy for us. But also, it's a fight. It's really we have to fight.
Yeah, Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness means declaring war on Maya. That actual hero, a real hero, Prabhupada says there's great heroes in this world like Julius Caesar, a great emperor, but when they enter their queen's bedroom, they're controlled by the queen, even though they have conquered the whole world. But the real hero is one who can conquer his senses and his mind and fix them on Krishna. So Maya means mind and senses want to engage in forgetfulness of Krishna, but one who conquers his mind and senses can conquer Krishna.
Did he have to explain him the Bhagavad Gita at the onset of war? Was there no other occasion for Krishna to explain him the Bhagavad Gita other than a situation of war? There were so many incidents in the entire Mahabharata where he could have sat him down and explained it. Why now?
It's just his choice. No question of why.
Does he ever mention in either the Srimad Bhagavatam that the events that lead up to this situation were also his created? The events that lead up to the onset of war were also created by Krishna, so that this could come to life.
Well, no, I mean, Krishna, of course, wanted everyone to surrender to him, to obey him, but the Kauravas, misusing their free will, they didn't want to cooperate. So therefore there was a war. Cannot say that that is Krishna's desire.
But he did take the opportunity to explain this, in other words.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Arjuna just became a student so that this could be written, but he already, of course, being Krishna's cousin and friend, he already had accepted him.
The Prabhupada explains that Arjuna was put into a state of bewilderment just by Krishna's desire. So Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. That as an eternal friend and associate of Krishna, there is no question of Arjuna actually being bewildered without that. So in that sense,
Without Guru also no possible to understanding.
yeah, without Guru, there's no question of proper understanding. That we practically see, especially if you go Nepal, India, you can find lakh people, something about Bhagavad Gita, something temple, something about Krishna, Narayan, Vishnu, whatever. But you cannot get a proper understanding from them because they have not approached, they're not following a guru, bona fide guru.
What about the heritage Guru?
The
Heritage Guru.
hereditary guru.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I mean,
Family.
heritage of one family Guru line.
Family Guru.
Well, generally, the family guru is not a actual bona fide guru. I mean, could be, but guru means one who is initiated into one of the four bona fide Vaishnava sampradayas.
and one of the four is Gaudiya and then the Ramanujacharya, all those.
Yeah. No one can become a guru unless he is unless he has accepted a guru. No one can become a guru unless he has accepted a guru. So that is the principle.
Why are there like billions of people who don't know what to follow? They are not even aware of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna has not given his favors to them. I don't know, I'm asking.
Well, ISKCON is preaching all over the world, but once someone or some devotee asked Prabhupada that why you came, at the time you came, why nobody came before. Papa said, you were not ready. When a person is not ready to listen and to accept, then there's no need for someone to speak to him. It is said that when you are actually within yourself, genuinely searching for a guru, searching for the truth, then Krishna within will direct you to the guru. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, out of thousands, you'll hardly find one who is actually interested.
But that also he only gives. No? Krishna, God, Krishna himself, he gives that curiosity for the person. He doesn't give it to everybody.
No, curiosity is your own. Your own. Curiosity is your own. If you're curious, then he gives the chance. If you're not curious, then there's no need for the chance. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.